Hey, what's up, everybody? Let me give me 1 second. Hey, what's up, everybody? I just wanted to kind of talk for a little minute. I had actually put out a video, um, talking about mental health. But unfortunately, that video, the audio was quite low, so people, thanks, shout out to you guys in the comments that let me know that you couldn't, that my audio was quite low. So that's something I don't know how I missed that. So that's L on my part. But hopefully, I'm gonna this when this video drops, you guys will be able to hear me much better. But yeah, I just wanted to and to be honest, I'm kind of glad, I can, you know, put this video out because today was was a rough day. Not for any like reason in particular, but um I uh I just, I've been um feeling having this negative feelings for about a month and a half now. And I've just been having days where, I'm just not in the right frame of mind, and for just things going on in my life. And I and I had to let one of my a boss at one of my jobs, know I just needed to I need to take some time away, because just haven't been feeling, mentally up there. And just needing to take some time and step away, kind of, get my bearings together. But yeah, you know, just um, I think that I hate been having these feelings of, where things may not be going the way that you hope they go, and um, you feel like, it's always one thing after another. You feel like, okay, this, just when you think things can't get any worse, somehow they do. And I just don't like, I struggle with the ability to adapt and to be able to make sense of when things happen. I was talking to I've been talking to my mom a lot lately. Well, I always talk to her, but um, she's telling me how she, can, when things, she goes through something, she can process it and understand, okay, there's nothing I can do about it. I just have to make the best of it. That's something that I struggle with. Um, I just I and I was telling her, it's just like, the thing about me is when things don't go my way, I understand, things don't always, they always, the saying goes, things don't always go according to plan, or it doesn't work out the way you hope things will sometimes. But I think the challenges for me is how to be able to pick up and move forward despite those disappointments, despite if you feel like maybe you were done wrong, or you were, people, you know or something happened. My mom tells me, you can't take things personally. I said, it's not that I take things personally. It's just like, it's almost like, if, you know, how do I put this? Let me try to phrase. I think what I said to her, I said, it's almost like sometimes if you're walking down the street and somebody's talking about you or saying things, you feel like if you don't respond and you let it roll off your back, sometimes you can feel like that person got over on you. You feel like that person, they won in that situation. And that's and I don't like having that kind of thinking, because I wish that I had that ability to, be able to, process things and be able to, you know rationalize that, hey, it sucks. Hey, it's crappy that I'm in this situation, or this happened or that happened. But at the end of the day, I can only do what I can only do what I can do, and that's something that I really struggle with, and um, just um, and then yeah, and I think honestly, I think the thing is, um, I have to be more. Even though I have been going to therapy for, I think we're at the 6 month period. Um, I think that I have to be more transparent, because as far as about, because I think that's one of the things what I was trying to help my mom understand, is that it's not that I take it personal, or I think that, for example, if I'll give you an example. It's just a little example, but I think about a lot of times. There was one time I was waiting for a bus, right? And I see the bus. I'm at the bus stop. I see it, and I'm standing right there, and the bus just drives off straight past me, and the driver wasn't even looking in my direction. So it was like he's driving, but so I'm on his right side. I'm on the right side of the road. He never even looks in the direction of the bus stop, and I remember how I was mad, because I'm like, dude, I'm standing right there. It's not like I had my phone. I was looking at my phone. I didn't see you. I saw the bus coming, but just drove right past me. And it's little stuff like that. And I was trying to get to. I think I was trying to get to an interview, job, and it was a job interview. And I was mad, because it's like, bro, now I have to call for Uber, or otherwise, if I wait for the next bus, I'm late. So it's like, now I'm in a situation. Now you just costed me. So now I have to pay money that I didn't want to spend to catch Uber, because you didn't want to stop. So like stuff like that, where when things happen and people don't care how that affects you, it's like, anybody, like my mom, she'll be upset about it, but she'll just be like, oh well. But I struggle with that, where it's like, this dude just messed up my day, and he doesn't even care. But it's little things like that. I'm just giving an example, but I struggle with being able to kind of just let stuff like that roll off my back, because it's like, yeah, well then now my whole thing is affected because of just that one thing. And like, how do I, and just not let it bother me? It's like, yeah, it does bother me, because that person clearly didn't care. Now, I don't think, oh, well, that person deliberately, well, he did it like he did it directly to screw me over. That's not what I mean. But just, it's when people are very uncaring about how what they do affects other people. That's stuff like that. But I think that's something that I have to talk with my therapist about not letting little things, or just being able to not allow things to affect me to such a degree that it affects my entire mood, it affects my entire day. And that's the thing, like, with my job, I'm not going to say too much, but just, that's why, one of the things why I said I needed to kind of step away, because I just, whenever I go in there, I don't like the kind of person I am, or just how I'm feeling. I feel like, I understand it's a job. I understand nobody likes to work, but obviously nobody wants to get up and have to go to work. But obviously that's something I accept. I've been working jobs for how many years now, but so that's something I accept. Nobody wants to. But you got to do what you got to do. I don't like my state of mind when I'm at my job, because I think, when you feel like you're in a place, you're not in a good headspace. It's one thing to go and you're at your job. It's like, oh man, gotta get and go to work. That everyone feels it. That's normal. But when you're like, you're in a very bad state of mind. I think that's like when you're just not, when it's like it affects your psyche to the point where it's like you're having like a mental battle just being in the building. I think that, that, it just affects everything. I don't like that feeling. I don't like it. And, it's, you know, I really struggle with that. But, I say all this to say, I don't know everybody, if you're watching this, I'm sure you have your battle mental health issues or your battles or your struggles with whatever. I think the thing obviously, and I said in the last video, even though you probably didn't hear it because my audio was so terrible, but again, if you're struggling with something, it's nothing wrong with, you know, it's okay to admit that you're struggling. It's okay to admit that you're not in a happy space, you're not in a great headspace, or you're not doing well mentally. I think it's how you deal with it. I think is what matters. How you um, how you handle that is what is going to make the difference. You know, getting help. It doesn't make you weak. You're not. You shouldn't feel like, oh, I'm a freak or I'm. No, you're human. And it's okay to admit your struggles. It's okay to be honest and say, I don't like where I'm at. I don't like how this is making me feel, or how I may make other people feel. I don't like you know where I'm at. It's okay to to struggle. But just what I'd say is, don't do what you can as far as how you can kind of minimize your struggle, because the reality is there's no one way, there's no one thing that's going to cure your struggles. Like, if, for example, if you deal with depression, you deal with anxiety, you deal with those kind of stuff, the reality is there is no one quick fix or one thing that's going to cure it. It's an ongoing thing. It's probably, especially if you're diagnosed with it, it's something that you're gonna have probably as long as you live. But you can still find a way to cope with it and manage it. And which is something that I'm very thankful that I do have therapy, because I remember there was one point where I felt like I didn't need the therapy anymore, and then things started happening where I realized I need to have therapy on a regular basis, even when things I feel like are going fine, because I've been having these days where one minute I'm fine, and then the next minute I'm just like it's like nothing can go right for me. And it's in those moments, and I think today, um, like it was just a really rough day for me. And shout out to, and I have to say, if I don't know if they'll ever see this video. Maybe my mom will see this, but I gotta give a shout out to my family, because I've this will be the first time I say this publicly. I think I've said this to them, but you know, I I admit that I am a jerk a lot to them, even when they're trying to help me. And I think something that I really struggle with is when I'm upset about something and they're asking me questions about, what's going on, what's wrong and stuff like that. It's like when you ask me a question or they ask me a question, it's almost like I'm so upset by it, and or something that happened and I don't um it's like just asking me a question, or especially if I feel like it's a question that's obvious, it sets me off. Almost like is that not obvious? And I'm like, are you really going to ask me that kind of question? And that's something that if there was one thing that I wish I could change about myself, it would be that, having more patience, because I don't have patience. I really don't. That is probably, if there's one thing that I wish I had, is patience. You know, my mom always tells me you gotta have patience. I said that's the one of the hardest things to have because I don't have it. But the fact that my family still tries to help me, even when I'm not making it easy for them, I do appreciate that. Even though sometimes it doesn't, I may not, it may not feel it that way. I just think that I have to, I have to learn to just be more like I tell them, like when I'm, there are times when I'm feeling like I'm having these negative feelings, but I think I need to be more in depth, because sometimes I'll tell them what's going on, or I'm telling them what I'm feeling a certain way, but I don't really, I need to go into more detail as to why I feel that way. So like, for example, when I was telling my mom about, when I get upset about when things don't go my way, I said I feel like it's not just that the thing didn't go my way, it's that I feel almost like, imagine you, it's just like how they have the you have the molded clay for pottery. So imagine your your you're using the, I think the thing, and you're molding the clay, you're molding the pot, and you're trying to make a a a, a vase, or a vase, or whatever you call a vase, and you put all the work into it. You get it, it's finally ready. You get it, and imagine you're looking, you're Mario holding it, and you're like, yes, I finally did it. And somebody come up and go and smashes it on the floor. So it's like, it's not so much that they smashed it and took it out your hand and smashed it on the floor, but it's that now they just walk away. So it's like, you're left with, it's in pieces now. So now, not only all that work that you put in is gone, but now you got to clean up the mess, even though you're not the one that did it. And yeah, it's stuff like that. So it's like learning how to be able to pick up and move forward despite disappointments, despite when people wrong you. I think that is what I struggle with, because it's like, I fight this tendency inside me where I feel like, if I just, it's not even about not being upset about it, because obviously, you're gonna be upset about things, but being able to kind of get past it and move forward and not let it affect your day or your life going forward, that is a challenge for me, and I'm sure it's a challenge for for those of you who are watching. That's just, so I tried to help her understand that. I didn't use that analogy, but I was just trying to say it's like how to pick up the pieces and be able to continue to not let it affect you. Like if you're at your job and something happens, and how do you, be able to let it roll off, as the saying goes, roll off your back like a duck. And that's something I struggle with, because, I have a thing where it's like, I'm about routine, and when one little thing throws off that whole routine, it just sends me in a spiral. And that's something that, I admit needs a lot of work. And but yeah, just, I think that, you know is something that, I'm honest enough with myself about that, it needs work, and I need to, be honest about that. I'm very much a work in progress, and there's a lot that I need to improve on. But I think the thing is that it's okay to struggle. It's okay to, as they say, not be okay. It's okay to be able to look in the mirror and just say, listen, I'm not where I need to be or where I want to be. But I think the important thing is that you continue, that you be honest with yourself and try to make corrections and just try to make changes. Um, and understand that you may never get to that point. But I think the thing that matters is if you're making the best of your situation and you're making the best of it and you're doing what you can, I think that's the important thing. And just and I talked about it in the video, but that that's no longer there. But if you're having feelings of unaliving or self-deleting, that you know it's important to get help. It's better for you to get it now before it's too late. Don't it's and believe me, I've never have I ever had thoughts about it? I can't say that I haven't. But I think the thing that that helps me is just understanding that it's temporary. And that you know you, I think a lot of times we focus on what we're dealing with at the moment, and we and it's understandable because when you're going through something and you're going through pain, you're not thinking about what doing something like that, the effect that it could have on your loved ones. You're not thinking about that. You're thinking about the pain that you're going through, and you just want the pain to end. But I think it's important to lean on the people that care about you, because I think the easy thought is you don't want to be a burden to somebody else. You think, oh well, this person got a lot on his or her plate, or they got this going on, they got this, they don't need to be bothered with what I'm dealing with. I said no. If whether it's your parents, whether it's your siblings, whether it's your friends, whoever, do you think they would rather you bother them and tell them, I'm having these harmful thoughts, I'm having these negative thoughts? Or do you think they'd rather, or do you think they want to get a phone call from, someone telling them that their loved one is deceased, that they unalived or self-delete? If you have, they would choose the former. They would rather you bother them, or quote unquote bother them, than the other option. And I think we have to get out of that frame of mind. I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to this. No, 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 no. That's you're not bothering nobody doing that. And I can just imagine if somebody told me that they were having those feelings. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I can imagine if my niece told me that, if my niece told me that she was having feelings like that, there's no universe where I'm saying, oh well, can this wait till later? No, I'd be like, wait, nothing else matters. At that point, nothing else would matter. Like, my priority would be what she's going through. And I think and that's the thing you have to have is like, you don't think that you're a bother to people by telling people your negative feelings of what you're struggling with and what you're dealing with. You're not bothering anybody, because imagine if it was the person you care about and you'd want them to tell you. So but yeah, just don't feel like that you you know you know don't and I know the feeling is you feel like you have to um go through it on your own. But and I understand there are people out there who are dealing with stuff and they don't really have anybody to you know um the thing is, there are so many resources out there to get you the help that you need. I mean, um don't it's it is okay. like I said, I'll continue to say it. It is okay to admit that you need help. And people, or there was I know people come from a time where you were dealing with stuff. It was, you got to suck it up, tough it out. No, 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 no. We got to get out of that mentality. That is not a healthy mentality to have. No. If you're struggling, whatever it is, whether it's depression, anxiety you're dealing with, self-deleting thoughts, addiction, whatever it is, you don't feel like you're weak for asking for help, because you're not. Because I think it takes a lot of strength to admit that you need help with something. And yeah, just just and take it one day at a time. Really take it one day at a time. And understand that it as they say, life is a roller coaster. You're gonna have your ups, you're gonna have your downs. There's gonna be good days, there's gonna be great days, there's gonna be rough days, bad days, terrible days. You're gonna have those days. But just when you have those rough days, just make sure that you have, you know, that you lean on the people that care about you and love you. Make sure that you, whether it's therapy, as medical or professional help, treatment, don't undercut or don't sell yourself short with the help that you can get. I think you take advantage of all the help you can get. If it's therapy, medication, obviously what's prescribed by a doctor, obviously, and but also too, I think find a hobby, find something that where you get a sense of calm, whatever that is. If it's whether it's bowling, if it's a kind of sport, if it's an activity, maybe it's just a walking outside, taking a walk outside, fishing, whatever it is, just find yourself a hobby, something that you can kind of clear your head, allows you to gives you some kind of, peace of joy, allows you to get some clarity as far as, just calming yourself down and doing those things. And I feel like that's one of the things that making videos on YouTube does for me. It's not only because it's something that I want to do, it's something I enjoy doing, but it kind of allows me to kind of, like videos like this where I can kind of just, speak from the heart and just, express the things that I'm feeling, the things that I'm going through. Just, find your outlet. And, just understand that, these things take time, and that just give it the time, take it one day at a time. It's when you're going through struggles and stuff like that, overcoming those struggles, like the how they say, when they're talking about any kind of journey or any kind of thing, they say it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I think that applies to this, because it's not going to happen overnight. It's still going to be a struggle when you're trying to, even when you start getting the help, and whether it's medication and therapy, it's not gonna miraculously start working. It's gonna take some time, and but that's okay. That is okay. And just understand that there is another side to this. You just, if you're patient and just continue to lean in on the people that care about you, continue to, just try to get that help, and continue to, put that effort and not give up, you will get on the other side of this. You will. It's not if you will, it's you will. That's what I wanted. That's just what I wanted to say. Just kind of my little TED talk, or if you will. But yeah, guys, I just want you guys to know, you're not alone with what you're going through, because I have I am pretty sure I'm gonna continue to have my rough days and things that I'm going through, but I think, um, I just have to, continue to, you know, not give up and just be, and don't be afraid to make changes. And one other thing I'll just say before I get out of here, if let's say my situation, it's kind of been, work related, as far as because I've been working a lot. If you feel like you need to step away to kind of get your bearings and to, clear your head, get into a better mental headspace, that's what you have to do. I understand, you got bills, you have mortgages. For those of you who have families, you got kids. I understand, that's, you feel that pressure. But understand, as important as your financial responsibilities are, as much as, you know, you want to, you know, keep up with your responsibilities as far as finances. Now, I'm not saying quit your job, but I'm saying as far as maybe dial back how much you work. Maybe it means you have to downsize. Maybe, you know, you know, cut back on the amount of hours that you work. Even if it's just temporary, maybe you just do it for maybe like a month or whatever. But just your mental health. Don't sacrifice your mental health for a dollar. I think too many people do that, and it ends up proving to be fatal, and you don't want that. Don't allow your job or your career to take away your mental health and your happiness and your peace of mind. That your mind is probably more so even as much as your heart is the most valuable thing that you have, and don't sacrifice that, because if you sacrifice that, then all the work that you're putting in and all those hours at work or your career or whatever you're doing, it's going to be for nothing. And yeah, here's the thing: you can always get another job. You can't get another mind. You can't get another mind. You can't get another heart. Those things go. That's it. It's over. You can always, you lose your job. Guess what? You can always find another job. It may take you a minute, may take you a month, may take you 2 months or whatever. You can find another job. I've lost jobs before, and it was rough, but I ended up finding another one. You can't get another life. You only got one. And just make sure that priority is important. Job, all that stuff is important, but don't let it don't let it kill you. And that's all I wanted to say, guys. Just thank you guys for watching. If you're watching this video, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really hope that you guys are able to, whatever you're going through, I hope you get on the other side of it, and continue to hang in there. It's rough. Life's hard, but just don't give up, and just continue to do the best you can. If you're doing the best you can, then that's all that matters. Then that's really what matters. Just don't do the best you can, but don't push yourself too far. Don't overdo it. Just, and know when to, you have to step back, and you got to take care of yourself. That's what that's all I can tell you. Yeah, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And I hope to see. I will be dropping another college football gaming video within the next day or two. So be on the lookout for that. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys are able. I hope you guys take care of yourself, and I hope whatever you're going through, you get through it. And I'm pulling for you guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys on the next one.